Gamer's Garage.
All right, everybody, I have a new segment on the show I want to call Google It, because we have a really limited time generally in the show, and there's so much news. I'm going to give you guys a few headlines. These are a few key phrases you can type into Google, and then you can read about all the important news. World Cup, how it boosted EA sales. Put World Cup boosts EA sales. Google it. Next thing I want you to do is I want you to look at the fact that StarCraft 2 has just sold 1.5 million copies in 2 days. StarCraft 2, 1.5 million copies. Google it. I want you guys to look up the fact that Ubisoft has now partnered with Virgin Gaming. Ubisoft partners with Virgin Gaming. Google it. MTV sells off Xfire. This should be familiar to all PC gamers who use Xfire Gamer Chat. They're selling it to Titan Gaming. MTV, Xfire, Google it. Now, as I said, this is the first time we've done this segment. Google it. So what I'd like you to do is give us feedback. Do you like it? Is it helpful? Because we can only put so much information in the podcast, and we don't want you to miss any information that is important to competitive gaming.
Can't stop the train, baby. Woo!
Everybody, I would like to welcome you to the 28th episode of the Losers Bracket. That's right, 28. As always, I'm joined by my co-hosts, Paradise, Spikemouth, and Rapture. Welcome, gentlemen. But before any of you say a word, I want to also thank the Gamers Garage, as always, for hosting this show. So, let's get right into the news. So, as you guys know, the little Liverpool event in the UK, the group that calls themselves the European Console League, had their event. I don't know what was European about them, but I guess the UK is in Europe, so it counts for something. The question is, bigger or smaller than Arbalete? That's the category I put them in.
I don't know what to think of this European Console League. I mean, I saw a video of the Halo 3 closing ceremony, and I'll give them a little bit of credit. It did look a little better than the high school-esque auditorium that Arbalete had going for it. But it still looked like there were maybe 15 kids in the crowd. I mean, I don't know. But their site looked a little bit barren to me, and it was really hard to find the results. Their forums are kind of dead. I mean, it looks like the event went pretty well, but it looks like attendance was low, and, you know, maybe we'll see something out of them in the future, but right now, it doesn't seem that bright to me.
I still think high school ceremonies are much better, so there weren't two nice blonde girls on the left at this one. I think attendance was great. They filled the seats in the first two rows. And it seems like those 7 people were clapping. I liked it.
You're just being mean. No, here's my cut. I mean, I have a close personal sort of feeling about this, because I remember when Focus said, hey, you know, you better sponsor us for this event. This is going to be Europe's MLG. You know, I got news for you. No, it's not. To anybody listening, you know, I do hope they grow. But until I see the actual prize money in the hands of players, this event is not over to me. The site is not updated. I have to sort through cliche titles of articles in order to get to figuring out who placed what. Again, we're the king of free advice. To ECL, I'm going to give you some free advice. Good job. You had chairs. That's a plus. That's one over Major League Gaming, who we're going to talk a lot about later, because as much as I try to not pick on them, they seem to not be able to help themselves. So good job with the chairs. Loco and the other guy announcing need a lot of work. Definitely their first time. No surprise there. Looked awkward, very odd, at least when I watched Loco. I'll say that for sure. And then third and final, you know, the one thing I think that stood out more than anything is the website itself was not convenient to use. You need to be able for us to go onto the site, very simply see the results. None of that was there. So the fact they held an event, you know, I give them a big bravo for actually pulling it off, but it's not over. It's not over until the players have the cash in their hands. Then they can call the event successful. Where and how they go from here, we'll see. Definitely they have plenty to improve on. That's my analysis. If you guys want the results, I don't know them. It's not on their website. I'm sure if somebody went to the Gears EU forums, the Halo EU forums, and then the Call of Duty EU forums, you probably would see a post somewhere with the results. I, unfortunately, am not going to sift through all of that because there's just certain level of professionalism I expect, and it wasn't there. I don't know if any of you bothered to do it, but after I sorted through articles and YouTube videos and I figured out I think Power Gaming won Halo, after that I said, you know what, this just isn't worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I did a little research, and after watching the videos and everything, to call this Europe's MLG, it's definitely not. It's not even close. For Halo, at least, same teams, which everyone expected to place. We had Power in first, Fnatic in second, Lowland Lions in third. That's usually how they place when they come over here. You know, they have Power usually above the rest of the European teams and Fnatic above Lowland Lions. Lowland Lions usually struggles to make it out of open bracket, usually over here in the States.
One piece of advice that I would give the ECL is to focus on their community a little bit more. Going to their forums and let's look at the Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare forums. There hasn't been a post in there in a little over 2 weeks, since the 19th of July. And every single game is like that. One in the 20th of July for FIFA, etc., so on, so on. I would really suggest they look into building their community if they want this to grow. Because, sure, it's cool to fill up the first 2 rows of seats, but it's a big difference if you get some people interested that want to come back, learn about your organization, and continue attending events. So, community, build it. Let's see it, chop chop.
To add to that, calling yourself the European Console League, I think a bit presumptuous. I think it would have been better if they had called themselves something related to England, Great Britain, or the United Kingdom, because really that's what you are. But according to what the rumors are, they got a private funder to fork over, I think, £25,000, and that's what it is. So from our perspective, I know an American team went. Somebody paid for them to go. I think they got like 6th. I'm sure we'll get a lot more feedback once we get to talk to them about what it was like. I know Nexi looked at a video on YouTube and said he thought it was a success, MLG Nexi. But again, I don't look for him for analysis. So definitely they didn't engage any of the community. So outside of Fnatic putting it on their site, definitely you weren't going to get North American attention, which is something that you really have to start thinking about if you're creating a league now, is international exposure.
I wonder if the European sponsors are actually taking this into consideration with the attention. This is why they might be sending these European teams over to North America to play in MLG, because, they don't really have a successful league yet right now, so they got to come up with something, so they send them over to play in MLG, which is fairly known around the world at least Halo. So maybe that's why they're starting to do that now instead of participating more and more in European League.
To give them credit, they did have a stream. That was a good thing. At least we could watch whoever was there. But to take away that credit, they had some really bad European music playing when the stream wasn't working, which happened to be a lot of the times when they were switching games. Props for having a stream, but no props for playing really bad music.
And that's a subjective opinion. I'm going to be honest. It felt like I've seen local Shadowrun lands that remind me of something similar to this. I'm always excited if somebody can get sponsors and businesses to promote gaming, and this is definitely better than nothing. Clearly a lot to improve on. I do think, again, they probably should have reached out to various organizations, told us about the event, definitely made an effort, and maybe they'll get some organizations outside of Fnatic to really give it some attention. But we'll see what happens. I'm sure that, depending on who you ask, they're going to say it was a great success, and, I wish them all the best. So speaking of events, I know, Jason, the World Cyber Games has the Asphalt Challenge upcoming.
Definitely. If you haven't seen, all the details are in our forums, but what's really cool, this is going to be for the first 100 people that show up to this event. This is going to be held on Saturday, August 21st from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Samsung Experience, 3rd floor of the Time Warner Building. That's in New York, New York. If you're in the area, please go check it out. First 100 registered players do receive a free t-shirt as well, which is kind of cool. Top 4 from these 100 will win free trips and hotel accommodations to the USA National Finals. That's going to be in Hollywood at Universal Studios, September 11th and 12th. Definitely worth checking out. If you want, all the details, links are in our forums. You're going to be playing Asphalt 5, Mobile Challenge by WCG this year. And also, one more thing about WCG while I have the floor. They did just open their application process for the Grand Finals this year. So if you're a big fan of the WCG, or if you want to see what the Olympics of video games looks like in person, and if you haven't seen, by the way, go check out some of the pictures from China last year or Germany the year before. Amazing stuff. But they're looking for talented people who know the games that they are playing this year, and they need your help to make sure their event is going to be run with the expertise that it needs to be. They'll be providing travel accommodations and also hotel stays for the people that are there to help out. If you want to be involved, throw an application in, WCG.com. They've got all the information listed there.
And yeah, I got to tell you, while I was looking at the WCG announcement for the Samsung Mobile Challenge, I'm actually really in the process of getting a new phone. And the Galaxy S has definitely made it on my list of phones to get. If anybody does go to the Samsung Mobile Challenge, please, please, please give me feedback on the phone. So this is like my personal request to the community. If you don't mind, I'd like to get feedback. A lot of my friends have, various HTC phones and they swear by them. And I'm not an iPhone guy. It's definitely between the Galaxy S and an HTC phone. If you are, one, an owner of the Galaxy S, two, attend the Samsung Mobile Challenge and actually play on a Galaxy S phone, give me feedback. Type it in the forum thread. Let me know, because nobody wants Lord Jareth to have a bad phone. That would not be cool. Can you imagine me standing next to the great gaming greats like, Sundance, and already feeling stupid that I don't have red shoes? Can you imagine he pulls out his latest smartphone and there I am with an inferior product? Make sure that's not me.
That'd be so sad.
It would be.
So the EA Sports Challenge, which is run by Major League Gaming at their events, but not actually for them, they've been looking for a commentator for Madden NFL, but it doesn't seem like MLG really seems to care much about it. A lot of people have been trying to enter these tournaments for Raleigh and anything happening after that, but so far MLG hasn't really attempted to help them out. But at the same time, it seems like they are looking for a commentator for the Madden competition, in which you will have to submit 5 minutes of commentating at Madden 10 gameplay and then recording that in one submission. MLG Nexi is looking for someone to be able to do that. Whether or not it's on a stream, we don't know yet, and they haven't made a decision on who they're going to use as a commentator. But as of right now, that is their plan as far as we know.
Yeah, according to what Nexi wrote, it says that they're looking for a commentator. They're not sure they're going to use one, which, that makes sense. You can't say you're going to use a commentator if you don't have a good one that applies. But if you go to the MLG forums or the EA Sports Challenge, there's really no information about another EA Sports Challenge. Rapture, you said, and to make sure it's clear, that's not a part of the MLG Pro Circuit, but at MLG events, MLG runs for EA the Sports Challenge. Again, we expect to see Madden, NBA, and possibly, I don't know for sure because there hasn't been an official announcement yet, but we might see something like a Fight Night. Those at least were the ones they had before. So as soon as we know something, we'll let everybody know. All we know right now is they probably are planning to have Madden and that they're looking for a commentator. If you think you have commentating skills, www.maddentips.com, go to the forums, and you'll see a thread in there that Nexi is looking for a commentator.
All right, well, here's what interested me about this whole EA Sports Challenge. Last year when EA and MLG decided to sign the deal saying that they were going to host the tournament at their event, the funny thing was is that the commentator was actually a part of the EA Challenge before. So he came with. Now, what's interesting is that all of a sudden they're getting rid of him. For what a lot of people don't know is last year during the season there had been talks about MLG trying to get rid of the commentator. They didn't think he was suitable for the position, mainly because he kind of talked crap sometimes about the players. Honestly, for someone like that, you would have to be there to honestly see what he was like, and it's going to be hard to replace someone like that. He was just too good at announcing it. He fit the role. And for them to sit here and not really care too much and looking for a new one, it's going to end up backfiring on them. Like I said, it's going to be really difficult for them to replace this guy now. I don't think they're going to end up doing it.
Spikemouth, if you can explain, because I myself and maybe a lot of other people, who exactly is this person? Or you said they had somebody for the 09 commentary. Do we know why he doesn't want to come back, or he's just not doing it this year? Or
yeah, there's just no information. Honestly, the way it's looking like, it looks like MLG got their way and they ended up just getting rid of him. Because this guy, from what I've been told from some of the Madden players in the past, is that he was a part of the EA Sports Challenge since the beginning. And he's done multiple other Madden tournaments as well. So when EA signed on, he came with. He was part of the deal. And it looks like kind of to me that MLG got their way or something. Now he's not there anymore. I don't know really what happened, and I hope they announce something soon saying why.
I'm just wondering why they're even bothering. It seems like it's almost useless to have one, and it's, no offense to anyone who plays in those competitions, but they don't stream it, so no one that's trying to watch it from outside the event's going to get this experience. And anyone inside of it, I mean, how big are these, side tournaments almost? Is it enough for someone to be commentating and wasting their time doing it? If it's not a big deal to have someone do it, then I don't mind, but why? What's the point?
When I went to events to see, check out Madden when it first came in, having that commentator there was actually kind of a big deal. He kind of pumped up the crowd. He kept them motivated. It was like what the Smash community is now at events, always hyped up and ready to go. And, Madden always sold out, so it wasn't like, they weren't selling out of passes. Everyone showed up for Madden, and it constantly sold out right away. So to see this guy now leaving, I think it's going to hurt it in the future because he was definitely kind of an inspiration to the whole league.
Well, let's hope that their hunt for somebody who can fill those shoes goes well. Maybe that's why they are, quote-unquote, not sure they will have a commentator, because the shoes are so big to fill. But we will see. If any of you out there are aspiring commentators, I would recommend you get in touch with MLG Nexi.
So recently we picked up a couple extra Smash Brothers in VV, and one of them was VVV Chibo. We actually have the pleasure of having him on the show here tonight. So Mark, Chibo, welcome to the Losers Bracket.
Glad to be here.
Well, thanks for coming on. I know that Apex is right around the corner, and there's a ton of information to talk about. A lot of our listeners might not know what Apex is. Do you think that you could possibly enlighten them? Talk to us about this Smash competition. What's going on? Give us some details.
Sure. Apex is a new series of tournaments hosted by Alex Strife. The first event was Apex, which happened last May, I believe. And this year we have Apex 2010, which takes place this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This is going to be one of the biggest national events in a bit for Brawl. We actually just got the final numbers in. We have, I believe, in the 240s area for Brawl entrance and in the 210s for Melee. So it's a huge event for both games, which is really surprising because a lot of events such as Pound 4 will sort of tilt toward the Melee side of things, or the MLG, which is just drops Melee at all costs and just focus on the Brawl, where here we have is really strong for both games. I'd say beyond all, the number one largest thing about Apex is the amount of out-of-region attendance. Being hosted in northern Jersey, we have attendance coming from, I'm looking at the list here, almost every state I can think of where a Smashville is. We even have people flying out from Alaska, Arizona, California, Kansas, Kentucky, New Mexico, Wisconsin, everywhere you can think of. As for out-of-country attendance, we have a lot of people coming from Canada. There's over 40 players coming from Canada. Say probably about over 10 players from Europe. And for the first time in probably 3 years, I believe it's been, in the Smash community, is we're actually having players from Japan fly out to Apex. They'll actually be arriving in the States tomorrow, I believe, to get ready for the tournament. And it's going to be a great time. A lot of things to look forward to there.
This sounds absolutely awesome. I believe that top 8 is getting payout, if I'm correct. And I've also read that there are going to be streams for all the events, Melee, Brawl, and I've also heard there's some sort of Brawl Plus. Can you tell me what that is?
Sure. Brawl Plus is one of the many Brawl hacks out there. Of course, your main events are going to be just Brawl and Melee, but there's also a sub-community in Smash where by hacking the game, they're able to change certain aspects of it. Some people don't like some of the competitive aspects of Brawl. Some say it's too slow or lack of a lot of hits done in the game. It doesn't really make it feel like a traditional Smash fighter like how 64 or Melee was. So Brawl Plus was the first real Brawl hack to really catch on. I've actually been very involved in it myself. I hosted plenty of tournaments for it. So Brawl Plus, it modified the game to be what the group who made it to be, how they thought it to be more competitive. Unfortunately, some of the hype for it has gone down a little bit because Brawl Plus more hit its peak, I'd say, around 9 months ago or so, which, well, coincidentally was when Apex was announced, so which is why Brawl Plus was added to the roster. However, along with Brawl Plus, there's going to be a Brawl Minus side event, which Brawl Minus is just another hack where the original idea behind it was let's make every character broken to make the game really fun. So, and then people started playing like small 5-hour side events for it, so they're going to do that there as well. And then another thing they're going to be showing off is a new hack for Brawl called Project Melee. It's pretty much a hack for Brawl to make it as close to Melee as possible, so they can have the Melee engine, physics, and the gameplay of it while having the new characters, new stages, and so on.
This sounds like it's going to be a great event. You know, looking through it and noticing the sponsors, you have King of the Couch sponsoring the event. Did they sponsor the event last year as well?
In terms of sponsoring, I don't know exactly what they're doing. I mean, they're not giving any money towards the placements, I believe. I think what they're doing is more just providing a lot of setups, like a lot of TVs, Wii's, GameCubes, things of that nature in terms of being a sponsor, but not actually adding any money, but more just resources for the event.
All right, the reason why I bring this up, King of the Couch, I've heard, isn't really reliable when it comes to running tournaments. When it comes to the NJ Halo, they've had events over here where I live in Rhode Island, even events in Texas, all sponsored by King of the Couch, and they've never actually been fully reliable when it comes to money or scheduling or tournaments in general. So I'm wondering if that's going to kind of impact the event a little bit to see maybe, you know, right now it's scheduled to have over 200 plus for each game. I wonder how that's going to influence it because they've never really been totally reliable.
Well, I can definitely vouch for the fact of sort of the shakiness with KOTC, especially because nowadays how they like to just commission a lot of various tournament hosts in the Smash community to hold their Smash events for them. And they'd actually contacted me a little bit over a year ago to start holding events for them. And after the first event I held for them, I already just cut ties off right away with them. However, the involvement with KOTC and Apex is very minimal. It's more just for some of the resources. I mean, KOTC isn't even mentioned more than just a one little image on the first post of the Apex thread, where, Alex Strife has worked with KOTC in the past, so he knows what he's doing. He knows where to be safe and whatnot. And it's simply not going to impact the amount of players coming to the tournament. Hype is still at an all-time high. And when I'm saying that there's over 200 players in each game, those are 200 paid players. Their money's in. Their money is already in the pot, like paying online. So it's definitely not a problem to look forward to.
As of this recording, the Brawl Backroom just released their latest rule set. As far as we know, this won't have any effect on Apex. Do you think it will at all, maybe coming this weekend or in the future?
Well, it definitely won't have any impact coming this weekend. The rule set for Apex has been set for many months now because the tournament organizers want to make sure that everybody knew the rule set way far in advance, so everybody was prepared for it. They can practice on all the stages that they know are going to be legal. Especially for out-of-country players coming in. So, they're not going to be too up-to-date on every change in the U.S. rule set. So, they want to know the rule set as soon as possible. So, the rule set that's being used for Apex, for Brawl, Melee, Brawl Plus, everything, it's been set for probably over 6 months, I'd say. As for other tournaments, though, a lot of people are complaining about the new Brawl Backroom rule set. But, when you really face the facts and look at it, even with the second rule set that they released probably around a year ago, nobody really liked that too much. It wasn't as bad as the third one, in my opinion, but nobody really used the recommended rule set anyway. I try to use it a little bit in my tournaments, like some of the aspects from it, but it's things like the stage list. It really varies more region to region. So it's more up to the tournament organizers themselves. So it's not really going to affect tournaments that much. It's definitely not going to affect Apex, so it's really nothing to worry about.
In terms of how the tournament's being run, are you guys going simply with double elimination, doubles first, then singles, or is it going to be is it going to be a standard tournament? Is that what people will be able to look forward to?
In terms of how the tournament's going to be ran, it's definitely going to be a more standard event. It's going to be a lot different than how the MLG events are ran, since that's what most people are used to hearing about now. The event takes place over 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Mostly it's going to be your standard doubles first, then singles. However, there's going to be a couple things be worked in there because of time constraints or managing the two main events, Brawl and Melee. The first thing that actually takes place on Friday afternoon is the big East Coast versus West Coast crew battles for both Melee and Brawl, which is going to be a very big event. More of a spectator thing, though, since both crews will only be 8 players. So 8 versus 8, it's going to be a big spectator event, though, so that's what they're really banking on for opening up Apex, getting the hype high right off the bat. After that will be doubles for Melee and Brawl, which will be seeded by pools first. It'll be 1 round of pools, and then it'll proceed on to a bracket, double elimination, later that evening. And then days 2 and 3 will be more focused on singles for both Melee and Brawl. This will have 2 rounds of pools, followed by a double elimination bracket. And then day 2 and 3 is also when you're going to find most of your side events, such as Brawl Plus, Match 64, Brawl Minus, and so on.
Who do you think is going to do the best at this tournament? Like, who do you see placing like the top 10 and the top 5? And that's in terms of Brawl.
For Brawl, top 10, top 5, and so on. I mean, obviously, one of the biggest players you have to mention here is our very own Mewtwo King. He's been traveling all over the U.S. for pretty much his entire summer so far, just getting all the practice he can. He took the first 2 MLG events quite easily, in my opinion. Didn't really have any trouble with his adversary, Ally. Took him down pretty easily in all the final matches last time. Is it going to be a problem this time? I think it's likely that he's going to win again. He played the best character in the game. He's by far the most practiced out of everybody. His tech skill is unrivaled. So he's definitely going to be there at guaranteed top 2 placement. Other than that, you need to look out for Ally. He'll be coming again from Canada, who actually just got back from the tournament in Europe. Normally, the third best player that most people see is ADHD, who unfortunately is not able to attend Apex. After that, we have players such as, let me think, DEHF, the best Falco main coming in from California. A lot of people are going to be interested about how the Japanese players do. They are completely tossed up in the air. They could be top 5, they could be top 10, or they could be top 60 or something. Who knows? Because we've never seen them play the American players before. And other than that, look for the other top players. VVV is going to have a strong showing. More of our East Coast side, we have Adamus going, Lee Martin, myself and Fina will be there. Other top players, a lot of players from Texas are going. It's more what we've seen from past tournaments, such as the 2 different MLGs, other big events such as Genesis last year. But the biggest thing is that we're seeing everybody all at one event. So just taking all the top players, but then just condensing it down is really how it's going to go out most likely.
Taking a look at the pictures of the venue where it's going to be held at inside the Rutgers Student Center, to me, the venue doesn't look that big. Have you seen the venue before? Do you think it'll be able to hold all these people and all the equipment?
I haven't actually seen the venue myself firsthand, besides the pictures. However, don't quite remember the square feet count area of the venue, but I mean, I've been told that it's definitely going to be able to fit everybody well, and I have faith in the tournament organizers that they picked a good venue. I'm familiar with the area. I know a lot of people that both go to Rutgers there that know the area. Alex Strife has seen it plenty of times, and I'm actually going to be working on the floor plans with him later tonight. So, unfortunately, I can't answer that question a little bit later, but I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine. There's really no worries there.
Chibo, I really want to thank you for some of the insight you've just brought. You know, one of the things that I think about when I look at Apex, this is one of those areas, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong. Brawl has such a history of local tournaments, and Apex, in a way, looks like a local tournament. If you go to the site, it's at Rutgers. It doesn't have one of those, big hotel convention center feels, but at the same time, it's a major tournament. How does a non-brawler like myself, how do I learn how important an event is to Brawl? And if my analysis is wrong, let me know, but I'd like to understand what makes, say, a SuperCon out in Denver or Apex here at Rutgers, what makes that bigger than other events, and how does that compare to MLG?
No, you're completely right in saying that it almost feels like a local event. I mean, you can really just tell, for the lack of sponsors compared to an MLG or lack of guaranteed prize pot. The thing with the local kind of tournaments is that you have, the people running the events are smashers, the people attending the events are smashers. The tournament by smashers for smashers, which is what's really important here. As for determining what's going to be the best event, unfortunately, there's really no way to guarantee that before it happens. You just have to, as an organizer, plan the best event you can and wait for the public to kind of chime in on it, make sure people like it. And as soon as people start confirming for the event, it creates a snowball effect. More people start confirming. And as soon as we started hearing players coming from out of the country, especially the Japanese players, that's when it really exploded. And that's how you know the event's going to be huge. That's when you know, wow, there's going to be people from so many different countries here, over 200 players per game, tons of setups, great events to participate in. So it's really just a tournament organizer's job to make the event as best as possible for people to know that this is the event to go to. And Apex is by far proved that it's definitely going to be one of the biggest events of the year.
Awesome for all that insight, though. Again, this is Chibo, VVV's very own. I want to thank you so much for the insight you've given us on Apex. And I want to know if we can invite you back to the show in the future to keep us informed of all things Brawl.
You can. I'm always welcome to.
I don't know if any of you guys noticed, but did you see the thread on the MLG forums where MLG Clap, for those of you that don't know Clap, you're not missing much, one of the MLG staff, most known for his arrogance and his attitude, not exactly the sharpest knife in the drawer. But he holds a position of power, and he's exactly a perfect representation of MLG culture. He started a thread that basically said, I want ideas to increase attendance and rally. And oh boy, let me tell you, was that a great thread. I had a fantastic
Strippers.
Well, I mean, if you want anyone to come up with stripper ideas, go to MLG events, because everyone in MLG events wants strippers, evidently. And it's a great time to really grow up as a man and learn about strippers.
Strippers.
Tons of strippers.
Yeah, and I mean, besides the strippers, I mean, and I think Clapp said himself that this thread was a fail, but I think the problem you start to see is that as Clapp goes through that thread, he seems to get frustrated. Then he throws up his sort of like Ric Flair video and gives away 10 free passes, almost like he's trying to save the thread so it doesn't look like a, oh my God, we need to increase attendance thread. And at the end of the day, you know, the things that struck me, how Major League Gaming attempts to sort of solve this problem. It felt like they expected the community to give them all these ideas, but you could see that not only was it probably not posted in the right area, certainly nobody seemed to care. And I thought that was not a good sign for Major League Gaming.
Well, I mean, the thread was just a complete mess. I'm really appalled by, reading it exactly. I mean, here we are, them asking for the community's opinion at like 4 a.m. at night. Just the fact that they're asking the community, I mean, it's good to outreach to them for one thing, but it almost felt like they were depending on it in such a way where they're saying, you get to be like my apprentice, or then handing out free passes and whatnot. I mean, it really just made no sense. And then all the responses from all the people in the forum were mainly just people saying over and over, just have Halo 1 and 2 there, besides all the stripper jokes and whatnot, of course, when most of the things were just like pipe dreams from players, like things that'll just never happen. And then it just kept going in a downward spiral, just bad ideas and just messing around. Like, it just makes me think, like, is this what MLG is like relying off of, like, for their events? Like, are they really that hopeless for Raleigh?
The fact that they asked the off-topic board was actually a little odd. Unfortunately, yeah, there were a lot of, like, bullshit stripper ideas in there. There were a lot of them actually that were good ideas, happened to do with like the history of MLG because it's like the 50th event. So yeah, we saw a lot of like Halo 1, Halo 2. Let's get all the old pros back. Let's try and get some Halo 2 teams to play. I saw some good ideas like try and get some more AM team, amateur bracket teams on the, on the main stage or something, stream more of that kind of stuff. But the fact that it's like bulked down by all the crap and the fact that it almost seems like MLG isn't listening, it seems like a joke in many ways, but I'm almost believing that it isn't, and that they're really relying on the community. Like, hey, we're running this for you, but we need some ideas because we don't know how to do it ourselves.
I mean, yeah, some of those ideas are good, like with such as you mentioning about the more AM teams being streamed, but I think what the main question really was, which Clapp had asked a few times in the thread, was what is going to make more people come to the event? Are more AM teams being streamed going to bring new people to the event? I mean, if anything, it's just going to make more people watch the stream and stay at home. It's really going to act almost opposite for them in a way. Really, one of the best ideas by far was, I think, if Bungie was there having a playable demo of Halo Reach there. However, they're asking this 2 to 3 weeks before the Raleigh event, which there's no way they're going to be able to contact Bungie and get this all set up in time. As for the various backstories and history and things of MLG in that sort of sense, it's just not going to bring new people. I mean, is it going to be awesome? Yes, it'd be great to see, but that should be something that they're doing anyway for the anniversary and whatnot. But I mean, it's not really going to bring new people to the event and more people to sign up and actually make the travel.
Before we get any farther into the discussion, I want to bring in Adam Icevayne Conan, VV's very own Halo Pro. Adam, I know we talked before the show. You are familiar with this thread. What are your thoughts? Because as we said, one, it didn't reflect well of the MLG community. Two, I didn't really think it necessarily reflected like MLG had any good ideas. And three, this attendance issue seems to be consistent. What do you think?
I definitely think MLG's just lost all creative ideas to get people into the seats for Rally. Obviously, they know nobody will show up. even
Adam,
the
I don't mean to be rude and cut you off, but I didn't know there were seats at an MLG event. That's like news to me.
oh well, for one game there's seats.
Oh, that's right. The bleachers. You're right.
But I mean, even the ideas Clap was throwing out himself, like throwing a sponsor party that they would sponsor, but they wouldn't cover the food or drinks. Then one would be like an intern for him. If a lot of people know who Clap is, I don't think a lot of people would want an intern for Clap for an MLG event whatsoever. Just the ideas even Clap was throwing out for himself just seemed like he was looking for a cry for help from the community. And since he obviously has posted the most in Off Topic, he was hoping somebody would come and bail him out for his job.
As much as I'm no fan of Clap, because, he clearly seems to think a lot of himself, I want to throw a couple other things out there. From what I've heard, and this is just people that have come up to talk to me outside of EVV Gaming, people that just randomly aim me or, send me a message, say, right now, it's my understanding that MLG Demios is going out there trying to recruit kids for a position of Xbox Live rep. And basically what the person would be doing is, play games on Xbox Live, but while playing, talking about MLG and trying to promote it to get people to come to the events. And I kept thinking to myself, well, the kind of kids who would take that job are probably not going to be the best people who you want to represent Major League Gaming. So I did the little bit added thing of like trying to start asking around and says, does anybody know, is this a paid position? And, what are they offering you in return? And what I'm finding out, this is the part that I think is hilarious, is that MLG is doing this really sneaky thing. They're telling kids, hey, if you come help us out, we'll take all your information, and if a position opens up at an event, we'll consider you. I think somebody said as a small perk, they'll get the user title community rep on the MLG forums. And I thought, are you kidding me? Once again, Major League Gaming, probably well aware that they can get kids to try to market them just because of ego, just because there are those kids out there who are like, wow, you call me a community rep, I'm going to be somebody. No, you're going to be the same loser you were before Demio slapped that community rep tag on your MLG account. Plus, at the end of the day, I think they're tracking it by codes. So like each of the Xbox Live reps are going to have a code. And depending on how many people come to the event and give that code, they'll know who of their community reps is doing the best job. And they're also looking for new ideas for the events. So they expect that, they're going to get these kids out there who will work for nothing, want a community rep perk, and they're going to engage people trying to get them to go to MLG events. And I think to myself, like, this is what you've done with $42.5 million. We don't even have to do that anymore. That's your solution? Like have like kids out on Xbox Live trying to get people to go to MLG events? Like really? I mean, their problems are not going to be solved by having, a bunch of kids run around. And the thing that bothers me is like, didn't they buy Agora Games? They've got these people who were really good at building community. I don't know, maybe they're like in a stupid secret website lab creating something great for MLG to be the next community website, like technologically wise. But where are they going to get the quality people to run it? I mean, seriously, you've got a great point, Adam. Clap's intern? No. I can't imagine anyone wanting that position. This is just a power-hungry kid who ended up like working for Major League Gaming and seems to think that he is somebody.
The way I look at this is I did a little research and I took all my information together and actually put a decent post together for him to see. Odds are it'll get thrown out, but the way I put it was you got to look back to the past. What actually helped sell events? So the way I looked at things was there were 3 games at the time which helped sell events. Halo, Gears of War, and Rainbow Six. Those 3 games together were helping sell out events. So then I started looking at the other details. So you got to get games that help out. So StarCraft 2, that's going to be big. Smash is big. Halo is big. But then you have Tekken. It's just kind of thrown in there for no reason. Not too popular. Has a main stage, but not a lot of people are interested. So they need to get rid of that. And on top of that, like, this isn't really coming from the pros' point of view, but they need to upgrade their pro launch. Now, yes, it's nice for the pros, but what I'm talking about is that every event that I've sat in there, Sundance and, Sepso always have these big shot CEOs from different companies coming in looking to sponsor MLG, and they bring them to what's called the pro launch. Okay, that's like saying you're going to bring MTV Cribs to your rundown shaggy apartment. That just doesn't work out. It's a couple of ropes with a couple of TVs in it. That's not a pro launch. So what they got to do is they have to go back to their old ways, back in 06 when they had Red Bull sponsoring it, which the pro lounge used to be phenomenal every event. They can do something like that. They got to start taking apart these sections and making it look like Halo, pretty much. They need to buff everything up. And I told them, I was like, it comes down to money. and you guys probably aren't going to be about that. So, I mean, what everyone else was throwing out there for ideas can only really be done for like 1 or 2 events, with the old Halo teams. People were asking for discounts on things. Well, that's fine. What we got to do is like to bump it up to get all these people back to start selling out again. They need to go back to their old ways. They need to make each game look like Halo pretty much for setup. And they need to work on that Pro Lounge as well. If they can get all those together and make it look amazing, then they'll definitely start selling out again. On top of that, for the last thing is that I told them they need to do more for the spectators. You have all these spectators come in, all these players that don't make it out, stuff like that, and they get knocked out, and they have to sit there on the floor watching these 3 little TVs behind the main stage. Okay, that's kind of dumb. What they need to do is that they have these chairs for the amateur section that they just kind of put away after once all the amateur rounds are done. Well, why? Just put them out for the public. People can sit on them. You'd have enough for at least half the people. On top of that, back in 2006, GameStop used to have their booth inside MLG, which consisted of many different consoles, many different games that people could just go and free play. Now, they need to start bringing back the free play things. Rather, it's free play stations for Halo, free play for Smash, whatever. They just need to start bringing in more for the community. That's why people don't really want to go, because there's really nothing to do unless you're a pro.
Definitely amazing points made by Justin. From the thread, I mean, even Clap suggested, should we sell the passes for DC at Raleigh? Would that make a lot of people come to the event? Why would people go all the way to Raleigh for something they can do on the internet?
I agree with you. I just want to say, I read it, and I think like 2 posts later, somebody pointed out what you're just saying, and I guarantee you anybody who read that thought, like, do you realize how far removed that person is from anybody's experience who actually attends an event? Like, I couldn't imagine, like, you almost want to say to him, hey, Clap, can you put yourself in somebody else's shoes? Like, try that little experiment. Pretend you're not the great and powerful Clap for a minute. Come down to, like, just an average person's level. And then think, I really wasn't sure if I'm going to go to an MLG event, but boy, nothing like a trip to buy passes. That sounds like a fantastic idea. I'm going to drive to Raleigh to buy passes for an event in DC. So I agree with you, but please keep going.
Past that, I mean, he made that comment, and somebody called him out literally 2 posts after that. It almost just seems like Clap is trying to play Monopoly, and he's stuck in jail, and he doesn't have a get out of jail card. He's hoping that somebody from the forums is thinking outside the box and is going to save his job and bring an amazing idea that will bring them, well, not millions, obviously, but a couple more 100 people to show up to the actual event.
Well, I'm going to agree that he's obviously looking to get some ideas, but, maybe asking the community is a good thing. Of course, going straight to the source, finding out what people want, that's a good thing. He did ask in the wrong place, though, and it's so obvious what he's trying to do. He needs to go about it in a different direction, poking around, trying to come up with these ideas that weren't that good, as everybody had said. Things like, oh, well, do you want to hear me and Sundance talk on stage about how awesome we are? No, we don't. That's not something I want to travel to Raleigh and buy a spectator pass just so I can see you and Sundance on stage talking about what you have planned for the future. It's your 50th event. Do something special. Do something memorable. Have something that's going to make people want to come. You have a group of people there that are supposed to be very smart. Go talk to your CEO. Figure out something to do. Talk to your community in a place other than the Op Topic forums, which is known for its trolling. And hell, like Jerry said earlier, you bought Agora Games, which is focused on community. Work on your community. God damn it, do something right. I'm pissed.
Jason is mad, but he brings up a good point. It has to be a lot about community, and they have Smash Bros there. They can build so much hype with that. When the Smash community get like hyped and stuff, shit goes down. They just have to do something like that. Get some like East Coast and West Coast players to play each other or something. Do stuff like that. Make it so people want to go there. Don't like bribe them in many cases. Make them want to feel excited to be there, not just to be there to watch everyone else play. It's like they're just so desperate to have people there they'll do anything, but there's things just sitting right in front of them. Get people hyped up about it, and there's no hype whatsoever.
And like I mentioned earlier, now MLG has these 3 big games. They can go far with this now. They just need to buff up everything around it and make it look nice. And, for MLG's point of view, they need to stop being money hungry. I know that with them, a lot of companies say no because they want too much money. MLG, you got to start small. You got to even no money. Even if you just had Red Bull come back just to sponsor the Pro Lounge and you didn't make any profit off of it, I'm sure you would get money in the future.
MLG really just needs to find better incentives to get people to come. I mean, right now for Smash, pretty much their incentive is the fact that since they can't stream it or show off any recorded videos, you have to attend in person to be able to see any of these matches, which, I mean, I don't know if that's kind of like their kind of hidden incentive that they're purposely doing. I mean, it's just completely the wrong way to go about it, and it's gotten a lot of the community a little angry about that.
Yes, there needs to be a stream immediately.
Well, I mean, I think the funny part is that this isn't a surprise to us. And what I mean by that is, I've had people come to me and say, Jerry, you're really hard on Major League Gaming. Yes, we are really hard on them. Because for one, it's not well run. The solution to your problem is to reach out to people who are successful at building community and ask them for help. This podcast show is a source of free information for Major League Gaming. This is something that they should listen to very carefully. Why? Because you're not succeeding. And this brings me tonight to, I guess, a little bit of a rant. When I look at gaming as a whole, and I look at what we have done in 3 years of VV Gaming, the one thing I figured out, all you really have to do is figure out everything that annoys you about gaming and then make a decision to stop the behavior. And you have that power if you train your people and you create a culture that isn't about being number one, but is about growing an entire industry. I really believe that a lot of people at Major League Gaming came into this seeing what all of us see, which is an inevitable growth of gaming, interactive media, and competition inside this realm. And they thought that if they would be the first ones with the most money, that they would just succeed. And if anything, technology changes, and people themselves want a really positive experience. I've gone to a lot of MLG events, and I know many of you have. Most of the time, many of our listeners have gone to compete. I have never gone to compete. I've always spectated, scouted talent, and also try to figure out how Major League Gaming operates and understand what it does well and what it can improve on. Ever since 2007, when we had a Gears of War team, Vision, that many of you are familiar with, we've been very hesitant to deal with Major League Gaming because of contracts on players and because of rules of who could have what on main stage. And I think back to the times I've always used to say, if you would just work with the community, allow people to come in there and be part of gaming, you would do better. But they didn't. If I were somebody on staff at Major League Gaming right now, if I were a Halo Pro player, I would be plotting my exit strategy. I would start thinking, what am I going to do if Major League Gaming is no longer around? What other options do I have? There is a long list of sponsors who Major League Gaming has worked with. We've mentioned some tonight. We could talk about Red Bull, ESPN, GameStop, Verizon. But at the end of the day, they're not there anymore. And the one thing I notice over and over again is Major League Gaming makes decisions, and they make decisions not understanding their customers' interaction with their brand and their product. It's bad enough that those of us who are desperate for competitive gaming don't have any place that we can actually go and watch and sit and enjoy competitive gaming. That is a tragedy in itself in North America. But I think what's even sadder is any game where there is a casual audience and somebody mentions Major League Gaming, all they think of is cocky, arrogant, spoiled kids who like to brag about how good they are and claim to be professionals. And they get laughed off every game's forums. And the only places Major League Gaming has been successful, they've never understood why. Why are they successful in Halo? Why is a community like the Brawl community so energetic and powerful? Major League Gaming is not going to survive if it doesn't make some fundamental changes. It's not going to be able to compete with growing threats. And the threats are coming. I can promise all of you listening to this podcast that there is going to be more and more companies who take a seriously look at this space and say, we can do something better. And all Major League Gaming would have to do is reach out to the people who have the communities, who sponsor teams, who help generate hype, who introduce more people to competitive gaming, and ask them what we do right. That would be free advice you all could use. Tonight I want to answer that question, what you can do to get more people at Rally. The first thing you need to do is you need to make a formal apology to the Gears of War community and admit that it was a mistake removing Gears of War from the pro circuit. The second thing you need to do is you need to get rid of Tekken 6. Anybody who is in the Gears of War community or even in the Rainbow Six community probably looks at that and says, why did you drop us and pick this up? And then explain yourselves. Explain your business decisions. Become transparent. If you become transparent, people will feel more comfortable about what is Major League Gaming. Also, as everybody on the show has already mentioned, what you need to do is you need to get chairs and an environment that is fun for spectators. Why not just ask yourself, what can we do at an MLG event that helps bring people together? When I have somebody like Jedi Rob on the show, somebody who every time he talks about gaming always talks about commingling, how awesome it is that gamers of all different kinds of games can come together and play. And as people mentioned on this show, have free play. Give people that opportunity. People are going to expect more, and you have to deliver it. If you want people to come to your events, you have to treat them with respect. Make people feel like they're appreciated. I have gone to 20 MLG events. I've never gotten anyone from Major League Gaming to thank me for what I do. Never once. But whenever I do something for the World Cyber Games, I immediately get a letter from Paul Brewer. The first time we sent people, I myself did not even attend to Devastation. I got a thank you card from Jedi Rob. In the mail, delivered. That's a class act. Never once did Major League Gaming ever thank me. If anything, they perpetuated a negative stereotype about VV Gaming. So at the end of the day, I'm still here, doing what I do, and VV Gaming is still here, loving competitive gaming, despite Major League Gaming, not because of it. And it wouldn't be so hard or so humbling to reach out and say thank you. So my last piece of advice for you for this 50th anniversary is to get yourselves up on stage and thank everybody. Maybe send out a few emails, a few forum private messages, even if it's a mass one, and thank people for being there. Because there may be 200 or 300 kids who you can convince because you give them a community fucking rep tag to promote Major League Gaming. But for me and anybody in VVV Gaming, I am quite certain that is not enough. And I'm quite certain that most of us don't really get enjoyment about calling another person a noob, but would get much more enjoyment if players were professional, straightforward, and they were people we could look up to and people we wanted to be like, not somebody we just get on their good side because we want to be on their team. So I hope if anybody from Major League Gaming listens to this, your 50th anniversary, it should be a big fucking thank you. Because despite how poorly you're run, despite how shitty you are to players, despite how much you disrespect except a select few, people still want competitive gaming. And if you are living proof of anything, it is that no matter how shitty it's run, no matter how poor it is executed, people want to game. And there are days I go from wishing you would just go away to knowing that a few days later I might actually miss you. And I hope whoever has invested in you realizes that there are other choices for people to run that company and bring people in who are smart, community-focused, people who are willing to train their staff, and people who really want to outreach to all gamers and make it just as much about the fans as it is about the players. Because if you want to have another 50 events, you need to change, and you need to change now.
All right, guys, so that brings us to the end of the show. I want to thank Chibo for coming on to the show, sharing your opinions of what's going to be happening with Apex. Best of luck at the event, my man. We'll be bringing you on next week if you'd like to come back on and share with us the event. Will you be here with us?
I definitely will. I'd love to talk about it.
Awesome. We can't wait to have you back. Also, Adam, thank you so much. Icevayne, we love having you on the show. Thank you so much for dropping in, giving your opinions on MLG, what's going on there. I know you're practicing hard for the next event, but thank you for taking some more time out of your schedule to come on and visit us, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to give a shout out to everyone here on the show today, my friends, family. Be sure to stop by over at thegamersgarage.com. We can find all the ways how to follow us, including Facebook, MySpace, and Twitter, as well as listen to other great podcasts. Also, you can leave us feedback for calling a voicemail at 206-350-7352. Or
That's
email
52, motherfucker.
at thegamersgarage.com.
What?
I got so carried away.
What?
No, did I come in at the wrong time? What?
That's my job.
Who?
Coming in the wrong time? What?
I
No.
always come at the wrong time.
Wow. You know what? I suppose this is better than talking about your fucking otter.
Oh my! I see again. I don't mention the otter, and I'm gonna kill it right now. But you guys keep mentioning it. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. No.
Somebody asked me a question that I have to ask you seriously. Are you good at any video game?
Yes.
Which game?
Pokemon, motherfucker.
Do you say that because we are certain that no one in VVV can verify or challenge your Pokemon status?
No, I've played some people in VVV and I've beaten them.
Because they've never played.
Oh, Chibo, I'll play.
I will challenge
go for it.
everything about it.
There we go.
for it.
We have the
All right,
challenge.
let's go.
Chibo versus Rapture Pokemon. I want to know the results. Screenshots, video, whatever it takes.
He's just jealous because he knows my character's better than his.
I don't even,
Rob
what?
sucks.
Oh my god.
Rob
You're still on
sucks as
that.
a stupid robot with
He's
lasers.
cooler than whatever
No,
you
it's
play.
not. I play like tons of shit, people. I don't give a shit. And Rob's gay though. I hate him. He has a stupid laser, and then
Rob has a homosexuality issue? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes,
How
he does.
would you know if he's gay or not?
How do you know that robots are
Because
gay?
his laser is pink. Because his laser is pink.
First of all, we had gay otters. Now we have
Extra
gay.
hacker to be blue.
Now we have gay robots. What is going on the losers bracket?
See, like, I think Rob is really just insecure, so he attacks people from far distances with his laser and gyro and stuff.
Yeah, whatever. If it wins the match, it wins.
I'm gonna make an easy $10, so I don't care.
You're too afraid to do 40.
I'm not doing it the 40 like that. I don't want to lose
I'll
money.
money match you in Pokemon for 40. Bring
That
it.
I would easily win $40 for.
That's what you say.
Well, you play him on Brawl for 40 and he plays you on Pokemon for 40. If you each
No,
win it, nobody has to.
Because, no.
What are you talking about? Because you know you're going to lose $80. That's what the truth is.
No, I don't. I don't want to.
You sound like a fucking otter. How about you just money match him? You said you were better than him in Pokemon. Put up to 40. He puts 40 up at Brawl. What do you got to lose?
Plus, Chibo,
I like
Rob
this
isn't even in
plan. I like it.
Rob isn't even in Pokemon, so you can't win.
Yeah, but he was in Mario Kart DS.
He was. I liked playing as him in Mario Kart DS. I will agree with that. He is a good character.
You guys have so many problems. I realize that now. When I get back from Gen Con, I want to see the results. I want this match played. You know what, Rapture? If you're out $80, that be a lesson to you. You know, my grandma got done and she retired from attending from the Rangers. She used to say, if you got 2 games to play and you lose them both, you know who's been in a hen house. And we did every time. So keep that in mind if you play and lose, all right?
And if you win, that would be your bus ticket to Raleigh.
Hell yeah. Stop asking everybody for rides.
I think the show has just hit the hen house, so have a great week, everybody.
Take care, Adam. Take care, Mark. Thank you both for being on the show. I'm out of here.
Thanks to our listeners. Have a good week, everybody. See you next week.
Do you ever think that Justin plays with himself when he's actually on the podcast show, like he gets bored?
No one actually thinks that, Jerry. Just you.
No, I thought it.
I thought so too.
No,
Justin,
I actually don't think of people playing with themselves. Bam.
Rapture, you've got a lot of problems.
I would say you guys have sick minds, but the only one would actually be Jason with the sick mind.
So you and Jason share stories that really make his mind qualified as sick?
Circle jerking. Got my wiener working.
Rapture. What happened to you, Rapture?
What?
What happened to you?